Hey guys, chapter 13, Chemical Biology, that's going to be meiosis and sexual life cycle. If you don't have mitosis down, mitosis down from the last chapter, you need to get it down before you dive into this. Doesn't mean you can't watch the video, but if you don't understand mitosis, this is going to be difficult. So you'll notice I did something different. I put on the webcam as well. I'm going to try and use the whiteboard a little bit. So I think based on how it's working, everything's going to be backward if I write something on there. So we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens, but I might just have to do images and then talk you through them. Okay, so vocab. I'm not going to read it to you. Make sure you grab those bolded words and know them. And so here's what we're talking about. We're talking about variation in genetics and what accounts for family resemblance. This is an actual family. You probably recognize at least two of those individuals from Hollywood. And what I want you to just do is just take a moment and take a peek at it. Look at it. What traits do you see that are similar between parents and offspring? What traits are similar between offspring? Are the offspring identical? Are they not? Why does that happen? And what we're going to be talking about is we're talking about offspring getting their genes or getting their traits from their parents through chromosomes and through genes. And then the difference is which genes get expressed and which genes don't get expressed. So it's genes that we inherit, and I keep using this word. What's a gene? So genes are these little segments of DNA. Okay, they're segments of DNA on a chromosome. So a chromosome is made up of many, many genes. Genes are, I think the book calls them units of heredity, made up of segments of DNA. I think that's what I typed. Yep, right there. So genes get passed from one generation to the next through a gamete, or an egg or a sperm. Sperm in the male, egg in the female. And what happens is we get one set of a chromosome from one half of a completed chromosome from dad and one half from mom. Okay, on each one of those, I pre-drew this one. So on each one of those chromosomes, there I go, I got it. Each one of those chromosomes, I've got kind of the purplish one for the female and the blue one for the male. We're going to get one copy from mom, the purple, one copy from dad. And what we're looking at is that locus, or plural is loci. So it's a specific location on a gene. Okay, so a specific location on a gene is called a locus. So on chromosome number 5, in this specific space, is the gene that codes for, I don't know, the moons on your fingernails. Okay, but it's going to be the exact same spot on the gene from your dad. It would have been in the exact same spot on chromosome 5 if it was your grandmother, your uncle, your aunt, your next door neighbor. They're all going to be in the same spot, and that spot is called the locus. So think of a locus as an address on a chromosome that a specific gene or a specific recipe of DNA is at. Okay? Remember, you're going to get one set of chromosomes from mom and one set from dad, and that will be what we talk about in bulk. That'll be the most of what we're going to talk about here, but before we jump into sexual reproduction, we need to talk about asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction is what works in many organisms on the planet. One parent produces genetically identical offspring through mitosis. So a single individual copies over, clones its cells, and then we get a individual, an offspring, that is genetically identical to the parent. Okay, not what you and I do. So not what humans do, not what dogs do, not what cats do, not what chickens do, not what fish do. Those individuals, those organisms use a different method, and that's sexual reproduction, where we're going to get one set of genes from one parent and one set of genes from the other. So we're going to get a mixing, we're going to get a blend, we're going to get more genetic variation. So here's an example of asexual reproduction. in two multicellular organisms. So we're not just talking about the prokaryotes and we're not just talking about the single-celled organism. On the left is a hydra, and what you can see there is over on the left we see budding. And that budding will occur, it will grow to a certain size, it will break off from the parent hydra, and then you'll have a genetically identical hydra out there in the world. Redwoods are genetically identical as well. So if you want to read about that, it's pretty cool. I don't really have time for it here, but it's a pretty cool process, so go Google it. But redwoods are a really neat form of asexual reproduction. Okay, so I'm going to jump back right now into sexual reproduction. We'll look at the asexual cycle again in a little bit, but we need to talk about life cycle. And life cycle is the generation to generation stages that is a reproductive history of an organism. So it's the genes that you got from your parents, who came from their parents, who came from their parents, who came from their parents. It's what 23andMe and oh, what's the other one that's really big right now? Ancestry, right? The Ancestry, genetic profiling. Excuse me, that's what those are all about, is tracing back those gene piles. Interestingly enough, ask me about how much Neanderthal came back on my father's 23andMe. I about fell over. So it's a high number, but I don't think you'll guess how high. All right, so again, sexual reproduction. So we have cells, your liver cells, your skin cells, your hair cells, your heart cells, your fingernail cells, you have all these cells, right? Those are called somatic cells. Those are the body cells. Somatic cells, soma means body. Remember that, you'll need it in Biology 201 when you start talking about nerves, but soma means body. So any of the cells other than the gametes, so everybody except gametes, are going to have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, so somatic cells all have the same genetic information. They all have 23 pairs of chromosomes. They have a total of 46. They got 23 from mom and 23 from dad. That's how we get pairs. Okay, a karyotype is a map. It's an ordered display of the pairs of chromosomes in a cell. We're going to look at one in the next slide. 2 chromosomes in each pair, one from mom, one from dad, those are called homologs or homologous chromosomes. Okay, so those guys that are homologs are going to be the same size, the same length, they're going to have the same coding in the same loci. That's a pretty small version. Let's blow it up a little bit. So here's chromosome 1. This right here in the black box. This is a karyotype. Kind of looking, it looks like you can't see down here, so maybe I'll have to minimize the photo out or do something here for a second. See if I can make that better for you guys. Homologs are one from mom, one from dad. And they don't always line up mom, dad, mom, dad. We don't know at this point, just looking at it, whose is whose. This could be dad, this could be mom, or vice versa. What we do know about a karyotype is they're arranged by size. Longest pair of chromosomes is first, and then as they get successively smaller, we put them in. The very last set are going to be the gender chromosomes, and I think you can see them through the video right here. It's the X and the Y. The Y is significantly shorter. These are the sex chromosomes. We'll talk about those guys in a second. Okay, so right here, this guy is a chromosome. This guy is a chromosome. It's been condensed. We're looking at them when they're in metaphase. They're all condensed down. Say this one's from mom and this one's from dad. Okay, so I have a pair of number 1s. So I have a pair of homologs or homologous chromosomes. Okay, that means that each one of these, this is a chromosome and this is a chromosome. And each one of these chromosomes in this view is made up of a copy of 2 sister chromatids. So I have a copy of dad here and a copy of dad DNA for chromosome 1 here, and they are sister chromatids and they are bound together by a centromere. Okay? All right. Sex chromosomes, the X and the Y, they're the ones that determine gender. Females will have, in humans, females will have 2 X's. So XX. Human males will be XY. Okay. The other 22, the somatic the ones that you'll find in the somatic cells, or you find them all in the somatic cells, strike that. The other 22 chromosomes that do not determine sex are the autosomes. Okay? I'll pretty much stick to using the word sex in a place that we used to use gender. That's a conscious choice on my part, so I've altered my slides. So if you find an old copy of my lectures out there somewhere, they used to say gender, and just based on where we are societally, I've made the determination to talk about X's and Y's in terms of sex and not in terms of gender. So just be advised. Okay, so each pair of homologous chromosomes includes one from each parent, just like we said. So in a human somatic cell, we're going to have two sets, okay, 23, one from mom, one from dad, one from mom, one from dad. Okay, I got chromosome number 1, copy from mom, copy from dad. Chromosome number 2, copy from mom, copy from dad. All the way through, including those sex chromosomes, where I would have gotten an X from mom, absolutely, and then I would have gotten either an X or a Y from dad. If I got an X from dad, I'm female. If I got a Y from dad, I'm male, genetically speaking. Okay, so we need to grab two words, and those are diploid and haploid. Diploid means that there are 46 chromosomes. It's 2N. And when we talk about humans, it's 46 chromosomes, but I can use the word diploid for other organisms that have different numbers of chromosomes. Okay, so diploid means that I have two copies. I have two sets. I have one from mom and one from dad. Those are going to be all of the somatic cells. When we talk about gametes, an egg or a sperm, those guys are going to be haploid, H-A-P-L-O-I-D, haploid. And they're going to be designated with a lowercase n, no number in front of it, just a single lowercase n. And you'll see that on a slide. But that's very, very important that you understand that concept here in meiosis. So for humans, the diploid number is 46, or 2n. Okay. So where are we at? We're at 12 minutes. So we'll go just a couple more minutes and I'll take a break here. So in a cell with DNA synthesis has occurred. So we're in interphase, we've gone through G1, we've gone through S phase of interphase so that we've replicated that DNA. We've gone through G2. So we have replicated chromosomes. Once we've done that, it looks like this. That's how I have those sister chromosomes. These are the replicated copies. Okay? Because remember, this chromosome is in metaphase. So it already went through interphase, it went through prophase. This is them at metaphase. Okay. Here's what we're looking at. We have a maternal set. We call the maternal in red, the paternal in blue. This individual, okay, has a 2n number of 6. Okay, I see 6 chromosomes in here, yes? 1, 2 copies of number 1, 3, 4, 2 more copies of number 2, 5, 6, 2 copies of number 3. 3 chromosomes from mom, 3 chromosomes from dad. I can talk about this chromosome as a chromosome. I can talk about it as 2 sister chromatids. Okay, remember they're connected at a centromere. When I put 2 together that are the same number chromosome, like both of these I called number 2, yes? Okay, so I have 2 sister chromatids, sister chromatids here, and 2 sister chromatids from mom over here. These 2 guys over here are sister chromatids. These are sister chromatids. If I take one of those sister chromatids from dad and one of those sister chromatids from mom, they are non-sister chromatids of a homologous pair. I still have a homologous pair. There's still chromosome number 2. One chromosome number 2 from mom and one chromosome number 2 from dad. But what I have are chromatids, and these guys are sister chromatids, and if I take one from each, these are non-sister chromatids. Okay, I think one more. Yeah, we'll do one more slide and then I'll break this video. So a gamete, an egg or sperm, has a single set of chromosomes. It's going to have just dad's chromosomes or just mom's chromosomes. Okay, and that's the sperm or the egg, and that's called haploid. There's your lowercase n. In humans, we say n is 23. It's half of 2n. This is algebra, guys. 2n equals 46, n must equal 43. If that's not making sense, you gotta come see me. But each set of 23 chromosome, each set of 23, each haploid consists of 22 autosomes and then a sex chromosome. Okay. In the female, an unfertilized egg, so an unfertilized egg always has a sex chromosome of X, I told you that, and the sperm cell will either have an X or a Y. Okay, so I'm going to break this video here and we're going to pick up, I think, with fertilization. I think fertilization is next.